My name is Ravi Santlani, and I'm the founder of ScooNews, which is a media platform for the education sector. And we are available on print through a magazine, then we are online, we have an application, and then we have a strong wing of events. So we host a lot of events in India, educator centric, and that too K-12 education. And yeah, the numbers are increasing. 4 people watching me live. I hope a lot others will join me shortly. Okay, so I'll start with this. Thank you, Pukhraj, and thank you, Saku, and the entire HundrED community and the HundrED team for choosing this date, that is 21st of March 2018, and that's a Wednesday. And why this date is important, and why this will be an historical date that the entire ScooNews team will remember is today we were announced as the best startup. So we come from a state called Rajasthan in India, which is known for forts and palaces, and of course, the capital is Pink City, where I come from. So the chief minister of the government of Rajasthan, she announced a couple of hours back that ScooNews is chosen as the #1 startup out of 700 startups in Rajasthan. With a total score of 88, we stood at the numero uno position, and along with a gold card, which the Honorable Chief Minister presented to me and my co-founder Bahul Chandra at a huge ceremony a couple of hours back, wherein there were more than 20,000 people in the audience, and it's a great day, and it's a very, very big day for us at ScooNews, and I think that's a wonderful coincidence that I'm going live on HundrED community with other ambassadors and other beautiful educators out there in the world. And along with this gold card, let me just give you a sneak peek of gold card. I have everything handy. So I come from a media house, so I like to flaunt about things, right? So I don't know whether this will fit or not, but this is the one which was given by the government of Rajasthan, and this is a gold card. You can see here. So we are now. Okay, yeah, I can't do that. Oh, so we are officially the #1 startup of Rajasthan, and along with this, a beautiful surprise from our lovely Chief Minister, Honorable Mrs. Vasundhara Raje, who is the Chief Minister of our state, Rajasthan. She also gave us a 2 million INR, 2 million encouragement fund. So this is you can see Rajasthan government, under Bhamasha Techno Fund, we have received this 2 million funding as an encouragement, and our achievements since last a couple of years or so. So this is what we did today, and thank you, Lauren, and thank you, Pukhraj, for your congratulations. So it has been a lovely day for us, and on that happy note, I'll start my journey, and I'll be a little over frank, and I'll go a little over the board in terms of sharing about my personal life, as well as what I was up to a few years back, and what got me back to India, and why I started ScooNews. So I come from a very middle class family, wherein we didn't see a lot of luxuries and not great cars and OACs. When we were children. But then again, my father and my mother, they made sure that I go to a good school, and they actually spent a huge amount on our education, both of my elder sisters and me. But then I had this thing, when I was a kid, lately in class 7 or 8, I came to realize that this is not really the education that should be given to any student. Where you have a certain set of books, and then you read out those books and you memorize them, and then whatever you memorize and whatever you could write in the examination, you simply write, and then you are the assessment is based on your memory, not your other skills. So of course, that the seed was sown at that level, and I thought I'll do something. But then again, destiny had some other plans, and then I was doing well in some other business in Africa, wherein I was into trading, and one fine day I got a call that my mother is not doing well these days in terms of her health grounds. And then I came back to India, and she was ultimately diagnosed with a cancer, and she succumbed, and she's no more with us. And then again, I had to shift and migrate back to my base in India to take after of, to look after my father and my wife and my beautiful kids. So I got talking to my childhood friend Bahul, who runs a very successful IT company based out of UK, and they have development centers in Jaipur with 1,000+ techies working for them. And I was like, I'm back to square one. What do I do? So he said, let's start something, which is a recession-proof business. I mean, I'm being a little frank. I mean, I won't tell you that this was my passion and everything, but we basically started a school parent communication app called ScooTalks. So ScooTalks was basically, I mean, we were trying to replace the traditional school diaries, and then we started, reaching out to schools, and then lately we realized that this is a very big brain process wherein a sales cycle in any of the educational institutes in India at least is a very lengthy sales cycle wherein it takes 6 to 8 months for a sale to get closed. So we thought of marketing, and then we picked up a few magazines, and then we saw, I mean, there is no content at all. So that was uh, the eureka moment that I mean, this space is still virgin, wherein India is basically the largest school-going population in the world, and along with 1.4 million schools, 60 million teachers, and there is no platform which gives the kind of content which basically empowers them, or enrich their knowledge, or probably inspire them, or none of the platform were reporting the best practices happening across the world. So in a way, I mean, I'd rather go on a level and say that I mean, we are somewhat similar to what HundrED and Saku are trying to do. So as far as my knowledge, I mean, what Saku and the team is trying to do is to report about the best innovations happening around the world, and giving a platform wherein I mean, for all the educators to take an inspiration from, and then probably trying I mean, try to replicate the same stuff which they report, and execution of the same. So I believe, I mean, ScooNews is also doing the same. And then we started a magazine. So before magazine, we tried to do something online. I mean, we thought, let's not go the traditional way by printing on a paper and sending it in logistics and a lot of stuff. So for the first 6 months, I mean, we tried our hands on the digital platforms and our website. So today, if you open scoonews.com, that is SCOONEWS.com, you will see, I mean, it is an endless scroll website, and we have some 12,000+ freshly brewed stories in our own editorial offices across India. So by that means, I mean, I could rather take an opportunity to claim that we have the largest content base in India about education for educators, and totally unplagiarized and 100% unique content, and great stuff. So please do go on scoonews.com and scroll through a lot of stories. You have a search option on the right top corner of a website, and you will find a lot of stories. In fact, a lot of stories about HundrED and their innovations. I mean, there were 5 people who were selected who came from India, who basically come from India, and they were selected in the top 100 innovations in Finland. So that was a proud moment for us. So this was the inception of ScooNews, and today, I mean, as we speak, I mean, we are India's widest read education magazine, and we have 500,000 active readers online and offline through our magazines every month. And we are known for the kind of content that we provide to these educators, and we are flooded with a lot of handwritten letters and emails and Facebook mentions and tweets about how these educators have taken an inspiration from the best practices stories that we have reported on our portal and our magazine. And there are, in fact, I mean, there are many who are actually trying to replicate the same, and we are glad to tell you that we have actually introduced these educators to the real magicians out there who have actually done some innovations, and they are working hand in hand. And I mean, that's the kind of platform that we provide to everyone. So we are pretty okay with giving out our sources, and connecting people to these wonderful educators who are doing magics all over the world and miracles. So that's how, I mean, we did. And then when the website was launched in February 2018, and incorporation of company and R&I permission. So in India, when you do business, I mean, you have a lot of stuff to do, but then lately the current government has actually, given a lot of ease for startups. So that way, I mean, we started in April 2016, I believe, was the first issue published. And we were a little unaware, I mean, which segment to target. So we started this magazine. I mean, we said, I mean, let's not, think too much about, which target to, which basically target group to focus on. So what we did is, let's work through on our data, that we receive from the market. So we started a magazine which was the first ever magazine in India, which was two in one. It was a flip magazine. From one side, it was for educators, and the moment you flip it around, it becomes the magazine for students from class 7 to grade 12. So that way, so for the first 6 months, we received a lot of, great feedbacks and reviews. And then lately we realized that our focus should be on educators. We should be a B2B platform wherein K-12 educators and principals and chairmen, founders, the decision-making authorities, as well as teachers, if we can provide the content to these people, then I believe, we can bring about a change in the current Indian education system. So I have this belief along with my core team. We believe that if we want to see a paradigm shift in the current Indian education system, it has to come through the educators. Because educators are basically a source wherein, millions of students, they take them as their role models, and, whatever they teach them. I still remember many of my teachers, and I was not a very, decent kid in school. I still can recall, my punishments in school. But then again, I give, a lot of credit to my teachers who basically shaped, my future and wherever I am right now. And I've been discussing this with wonderful people from across 40 countries today. And that was the thought. We personally believe that, teachers and educators are the one who can bring about a change in any education system across the world. If you agree with me, send me a like, or, just comment. Or if you have any disagreement on this comment, please go ahead and tell me, and I'll be happy to learn from you. So that was the story of ScooNews, how we started, and when we did, and then we did a lot of events, ISAR, ScooNews, Youngstar Awards, and we identified a lot of talented kids from across India. We got them in under one roof and rewarded them. And then, of course, I talked about pivoting to educators only publication. That happened in June 2017. I still remember that. And then our debut event, which is which is called ScooNews Global Educators Fest. So we thought of doing events, of course, through content. That is one part. Yeah, Book Raja just did that. Wonderful. Yeah, you agree with me, and I agree with you. So that's how educators across the world are shaping the world economy. And I also can recall great speakers at World Economic Forum who stressed on education. So this year's WEF was, I believe, 50% about education. So that's also great news for all educators across the globe. So ideally, I was talking about the event. So event is one way where, when you can meet all your virtual readers, and you can understand more on what kind of a content is required. And then again, that's another arm in terms of getting a lot of great speakers from across the globe under one roof, and giving all these educators and our readers a chance to meet and interact with these people and learn more on what inspired these people to become what they are right now, and they have millions of followers, and they pretty much are influencers across the globe. So last year, August 18th and 19th, we hosted our first ever event, which saw 600 top educators from India and across the globe, along with some brilliant speakers. And we were very happy and lucky to, get a nod from all these speakers who came to our conference. And Professor Subhata Mitra, the TED Prize winner and the current professor at Newcastle University. He is a great person, and I have personally learned a lot from him, and we are working with him very closely. And we are, of course, 10 days later from now, we are organizing another conference in Mumbai at Taj Lands End, wherein Professor Subhata Mitra will be in the center, and he's taking a master class with the principals and founders of the schools on, and the theme is evolution of learning environments. So that's something on our events. So I believe events are, a very strong medium in terms of connecting all these people. Who can together, as a project. They can probably, inculcate a lot of different ideas into their current education system in the current respective institutions that they are running. And I have seen a lot of, takeaway from our last conference, and we still get a lot of emails and a lot of face-to-face interactions that I met the speaker there. In fact, Sonam Wangchuk, so he is a great guy based out of Ladakh in India. That's a hilly region, and very difficult, little inaccessible to the rest of India. Half of the time. So looking at the weather conditions. So he is a great guy. So he came over there, and later on he was conferred with a doctorate from from ICFA University, which was partner in our last year. That's how people meet, they interact, they make new acquaintances, and then again, they reach to another level. So we are very happy to be providing such platform, and we actually have now decided that we'll strengthen our event arm, and we will venture out of India as well. So last year we had our debut event, and then again 10 days after I have an event in Mumbai, and then again we are back with the second edition of Global Educators Fest, which will happen in Udaipur. I mean, that's the city of lakes, and we are doing it along with the royal family of Udaipur, and they have been wonderful people in terms of encouraging us to bring this to our home state, that is Rajasthan. So we are looking to have greatest speakers from across the globe, and I'm sure more details will be revealed in next couple of weeks or so. And after that, we are trying to connect with the Conference of Bhutan to bring our early education conference. That is basically an Asia level conference that we will do. We intend to do in Bhutan, and we are trying to seek its support, wherein we could invite representatives from 50 countries in Asia, and we could probably create intellectual property on early childhood education, which is a very important domain. So as we see, we have actually great connections with 10,000 plus schools in India, with whom we engage on weekly and on fortnightly basis, and through newsletters and through emails and through face-to-face interactions and a lot of different conferences. And then again, we have other 500,000 readers. So they are basically silent readers. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a platform wherein we could engage them, and they could communicate, and a lot of content from across the globe will come. So that's something that our team is working right now, and this is something about our inception of ScooNews and where we are, the kind of journey. So how can the 100 community support ScooNews? Of course, there is a lot of scope for collaboration and teamwork here, Pukhraj, and other esteemed members of this community. What you could do is, sitting here in a small little city in India called Jaipur, we try to collate a lot of best practices and a lot of content from all over India. But then again, I believe a great idea and opportunity for all the 100 community members would be to write regular columns in our magazine. I'm here, and I'm going over the board, offering you all the support from ScooNews in terms of our website or magazine. If you have a great idea in terms of a good story about someone in your vicinity, in your city or state, or in any other country that you have met and probably engaged with them in the past, and you believe that their story can inspire a lot of other people, write to us. You can find us there on the Twitter at ScooNews, Facebook, or you Google about ScooNews, you'll come to our website, and a lot of other social media handles. You could write to editor@scoonews.com, and we'll be happy to write about your experience and what you do, and what is that that you are doing to bring some kind of a disruption and change in the current education system in your respective country. So that is one thing that we could do with 100 community. Of course, we come from India, and then we have our offices in Bangalore, Mumbai, and New Delhi, and Jaipur, of course. So we invite all the 100 community members. If at all you are planning a trip to India, we'll be happy to host you. We'll be happy to give you a working space if you really want to come and see the landscape of education in India. We are happy to provide you all support locally in terms of, as I mentioned, workspaces, and we could probably give you access to internet, access to a lot of influencers in India, access to the government, and we could arrange a lot of, research along with the local bodies and the national government as well. So that could be a second, scope of collaboration along with 100 community. So this is something which we spoke about. What was ScooNews? What we intend to do, and what is the meaning of us, or probably our existence in this world? What is that we need to do? What is that our goal is all about? So I personally believe, as we have, I'm sure, many of you have read my bio, and I've written over there that it is time to unlearn the legacy education and bring about a disruption using the local and global influences. I believe we can do it together. I believe if we start today, and I believe there are more than 100 ambassadors from across the globe. If we start today and throw our ideas towards how we could use a local and a global influence in terms of how could we bring and a disruption in at least our vicinity. I mean, let's not talk about changing our countries or changing our cities at this point in time. We could start with our neighbors. We could start with maybe a house on your right or an apartment on your left, or maybe two or three families. So there are great ideas out there. What we need to do is we just need to implement those ideas and find execution strategies in terms of okay, Ravi, I mean, you're from ScooNews. I'm trying to do this in Bangalore. I believe, I mean, there are a lot of ambassadors who come from India, so I'm ready to support these people. So I believe uh, a start is really important. I mean, we talk about great things happening all around the world, and we report about a lot of stuff and some wonderful things that ambassadors are doing across the globe. But what next? How can we inspire the second person to take an inspiration of an idea and actually execute that and implement that on ground? So that is something that I believe in personally, and I do a lot of stuff, and I won't brag and boast about what I do personally in terms of helping people and creating a lot of awareness. And I believe evolution of learning environments is something that I learned from Professor Sugata Mitra in my recent visit to his house in Kolkata. Since I mean, we were planning our next event in Mumbai, so I sat with him for a couple of hours, and we thought that I always had this idea of creating an Indian school of the future. And I spoke to him and I told him that this is what I personally believe, and this is something that I've been thinking about since last 6 or 7 months. Can we do this? I mean, do you think this is possible? And then he very smartly, I mean, he answered that. Ravi, tell me one thing. I mean, looking at the current assessment policies and looking at the current affiliations from different boards in India, I believe a revolution is not possible at this point in time. That will take a lot of efforts and a lot of government support, and that too in India. I mean, we have a lot of states, and different states take care of their own states' education policies. So, I believe, I mean, that is a little difficult, but can we not use the word revolution, and can we replace this word revolution with evolution? Can we do small little things in the current schools in India and try to help these schools to become the future enabled school, to become the 21st century school, or what do you call it, Indian school of the future, ISOF? So we had a very lengthy discussion, and with his permission, I recorded the entire conversation for my other team members to listen and probably take out, and the kind of content that we require for the next conference. And hence, this term, which was suggested by Professor Sugata Mitra, came into, or probably formed into this conference that we are doing. Evolution of learning environments. So I'm sure, I mean, if you go on ScooNews.com, you will see a banner of Ed Brainstorm, which is our next conference in Mumbai. And there is a lot of content over there, which is actually written by Professor Sugata Mitra in terms of what we need to do in the current schools. If you are a school, what we need to do. There are some pointers over there. If you are trying to create a new school, what are the things that we will discuss? So, these are the things that Professor wrote himself and sent it to us. He is a wonderful man, and guys, I mean, I have never come across any, such a humble person who is very down to earth. And I believe, I mean, it's very difficult for anyone living in this planet to understand, I mean, what he's thinking when you're talking about. So that's my small bit on evolution of learning environments and what we could do together. And Professor Sugata Mitra, who's leading and directing the discussion. I mean, and we are very happy and lucky to have him on board. And not everyone get a chance to sit with Professor Sugata Mitra and hear his heart out. So we had a couple of opportunities to sit with him. And ideally, the school leaders and founders, I mean, we want to bring them all on a single platform, and we also understand that that will not be possible at one go. Even if someone comes and give me $100 million check and and tell me to do and achieve all these things in like 6 months, I mean, that would be a little difficult. So we are trying to bring about a change in a very slow and a step-by-step manner, where we first want to uh, spread awareness in terms of what could be a proper use of technology in education and what all things this technology could solve in your school and save a lot of man hours, and probably the teachers who are now busy in those admin stuff could actually go back to their original job on teaching the students. So that's a big problem in India. I mean, a lot of educators are right now busy in terms of administration work in their schools. So technology can, that's the basic thing. Of course, technology can do wonders. I mean, we talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence. The world is talking about them, and I personally believe augmented reality and virtual reality has that capacity to bring about a disruption and a change in the way teachers teach and students learn. But having said that, we'll have to start from the basics. Need to make educators won't understand that. But I mean, if we could create a story about IoT and explain them something in terms of what they use every day, and then by explaining that in terms of those examples and bringing them back in terms of IoT. So we have done a lot of content around that, and now we are happy that there are a lot of people we are working along with in terms of implementing IoT in their schools and virtual reality. They actually went ahead and spent a good amount of money from our marketing budget and ordered 2,000 virtual reality headsets. And we did a Young Explorer program wherein we went to a lot of schools and we did a great experiential learning workshops with the students. I think 28 minutes have passed and I'm talking too much, and a lot of people you must be getting bored. But this is how we started, and a couple of more points that I will like to touch here on if I have that another 2 or 3 minutes. We decided that we will call ourselves for profit social impact education media house. For profit, of course, we need money to give our school fees. India is not a very cheap place for education, and of course, there are a lot of other things. We all need money. We all agree on that, so I don't need to stress on that. But then again, what for social impact? So what we thought as a media house, it is our uh, responsibility to report about people, report about the warriors who are battling the odds to educate the disadvantaged. There are many people in India, Saku. If you're watching this, I'm going to send you a link wherein you will see. We actually identified 16 of the teacher warriors. We called them teacher warriors last year in our event. And I thought, when we have done this issue and we have reported these 16 teacher warriors who are doing wonderful job in different rural places as well as urban places, and they've actually given their entire life. There is a gentleman who actually sold his last apartment that he got, and then he invested into the education of these poor disadvantaged kids. And happy to share, the product uh, that gentlemen are now working in Deloitte and they're now working in Facebook and Google, and I salute him. And his name is GK Swami sir. He's from Purkal Youth Development Society. Google about him, and you will fall in love with this gentleman. And there were 15 others along with GK Swami sir. And what we did was, we actually took that particular cover story where we talked about these 16 teacher warriors, and we thought, let's bring all these 16 teacher warriors to our event. Never, we'll earn a little less, but no problem. And then again, we invited them, we took care of all their airfares and hotel stays and logistics and everything. And then we got them under one roof, and we awarded them as the Teacher Warriors of 2017. And happy to share with you that we are, again repeating that Teacher Warriors 2018 will be celebrated on 3rd and 4th of August at the City Palace, Udaipur, wherein our team is currently busy in identifying the second set of teacher warriors. So that is something that we do for social impact. So there are a lot of people, lovely people out there, who sent us a lot of donations in terms of, Ravi, we know you are a startup and you won't be able to afford all these logistics. Can you please accept this small little penny from? And then we have wonderful people, across the globe, who are sending us a lot of love and a lot of help and donations to these teacher warriors. So we do not accept any money. But then again, of course, if anyone is ready to, work closely with these teacher warriors or select one or two teacher warriors and work with them, so that's something that we accept, and we probably connect them to these people, and they work together. So that's something about ScooNews, and I believe I can go on and on, talking about what we could do in the future. But then again, yes, we are trying to create India's largest community of educators on a tech platform, and our team are working on that. We have a roadmap and we have a future plan ready with everything, and we have documents. We have worked, late nights, and we have had sleepless nights, and we have actually worked on that particular platform. I believe in next 6 to 8 months we'll be able to come up with a beta version. So this is about ScooNews, and I'm again repeating that happy to help you all in terms of any opportunity. If you can throw towards us, we'll be happy to respond quickly. And yeah, of course, a lot of Gyan stuff here. So I'm a great fan of David Thorne and his funny emails. So guys, if you are stressed with anything in your life, go on Amazon or just Google about David Thorne and read some of his funny emails, and I'm sure you can thank me later. So that's a piece of advice from my side. So I think this is all about ScooNews, and I'm happy to take any questions here. And yeah, that's about it. Wonderful. So I'll end my video here, and I'm sure Pukhraj will convert this video in a YouTube video and share the link. And I'll be happy to share with my other friends on my timeline. And this is the first time I'm going live on Facebook, so brevity excused, and look forward to meeting you all, provided Saku invites me for his next 100 innovations in Finland this year. So yeah, look forward to meet everyone over there. And thank you once again. Thank you for all your love and all your likes and hearts. And I so look forward to attend the next WEB-nesday today, and very excited to hear about other innovations happening across the world. So it's a happy day, big day for us, and it calls for celebration. So of course, I'll have a couple of drinks and then, along with my wife and other people. So thank you very much. I'll end my ScooNews live here, and goodbye from India, and look forward to learning from you all. Bye bye. Thank you.